Hey everybody, this is the third video I'm recording in like one session. So I thought I would go ahead and finally do a mid-year check-in video. Yes, it is August. No, it's technically not the middle of the year anymore, but I figure, hey, it's not fall yet, so we can still talk about um, my reading goals as far as it goes for the first part of the year and kind of moving forward into the last part of the year. And I think I set too many reading goals at the beginning of the year. Of course, when you're sitting down and writing all these things down, they seem doable. You have a full 12 months, 365 days to get all this stuff done. And of course, life happens. Of course, your mind changes. The funny story is, like, I remember watching, I don't think Bernica makes videos anymore, but she had did a video about how she has a whiteboard where she changes her goals, and she changes her vision board. And I was thinking, like, why would you do that? Like, aren't you supposed to stick to your yearly goals all year? But it makes sense now because those things change. So yeah, so as far as my reading goals have gone, things have changed. The first was Year with Morrison, which was to read one Toni Morrison book per year. I mean, per month, not per year. Per month. She has 11 books of fiction out, and I was going to read her one essay collection, Playing in the Dark, where she's writing about other literary texts and about blackness in those texts. So I have a video that I will link below that talks about, like, more in depth about how I was feeling at the time when I stopped. I have not continued on. I've read 3 of her books. I'm still at the 200 page mark in Tar Baby, and I have no desire to continue to read it at this moment. It was just kind of it was just really heavy, dealing with, like, all the stuff that's going on, like, the US right now, and I was kind of getting emotionally and mentally bogged down with that. I have also realized that there are other media outlets that I actually need to take breaks from as well. So also, it is also that I got suggestions I should read the books out of order. I have read at least 6 books of hers before, and the first 4 were books I already read, so it could have been that I was a little bored. It was also just a daunting task of knowing that, like, once I put her down, I was picking her right back up. So that was actually kind of tiresome. And I've heard that from other people who are kind of reading a certain author this year, if they don't really have much space to space out the books, people with longer catalogs of work. So hopefully I will eventually pick back up her books. I'm not going to write off Toni Morrison, absolutely not. She's still a literary genius and a inspiration of mine. She's like a literary shero to me. So I will eventually pick her books back up, but right now I'm just not in the mood to read her. Especially as long as it takes me to get through one of her books when I want to read so many others. That leads to my second goal, which was to read 75 books this entire year. Something told me to not do that. So I did not do a Goodreads challenge last year. So this year I was like, oh, I actually know about this now. So I set the goal to 75. I haven't even checked it in a while, but I still think I'm under 30 books as being fully read for the year as far as Goodreads goes. I also know that more should be counted, because if you don't if the date isn't recorded when you started and finished the book, like, sometimes I won't put it on Goodreads and I'll just click that I read it and give it a star rating. Sometimes it doesn't record that you read it this year. Even with that said, if I go in and do that for every book I read this year, that I'm still not close to the 75. I just haven't had the time to read, and I haven't been making the time. I've been tired. I've been doing other things. And some of these books are actually just taking me longer to get through this year, which is okay. Like, Taking our time and really understanding what we're reading is not a problem. Um, I also now understand why people were focused on how many pages they were reading. Like, I think Brown Girl Reading and Books Would Be said that they were focused more on reading more pages this year than actually sizes of books, which makes sense because, for example, I have N.K. Jemisin's Inheritance Trilogy bind up, which is like this thick. So technically there's 3 books in there in a novella, but on Goodreads that Inheritance Trilogy bind up counts as 1 book, even though it's over 1,000 pages long, and even though technically it's 3 books and they're just bound together. So I thought about that. I'm like, wait, I mean, technically I've read 4 books because a novella is a book as well. I would read 4 books and I only get it counted as 1. That's not fair. But you know, it's technology and it shouldn't really matter in the end. But I don't know if I'm going to set a Goodreads goal next year. I probably will, and it'll probably just be less books. To move forward, I also decided to do the Book Riot Challenge, which is, they have, I think it was like 25 to 30 challenges, and you have to fulfill the challenges. I think to this date I maybe only fulfilled 3 or 4 of the challenges. Not because they aren't good challenges. I tried to focus on things that were already on my bookshelf, and I actually don't have many books that fulfill these challenges, which makes the Book Riot Challenge a really good way to like explore new things to read. But I realized that some things I'm just not interested in, and I'm not really trying to force myself to read those. Like, I want to fulfill the challenge, but it's not going to happen. Like, I'm still going to go through it, but I'm not going to fulfill all 25. But I still encourage people to do it. I also stopped buying books for the past few months. I'm almost finished with that book buying ban. However, that has affected me fulfilling certain challenges because I'm not able to buy the books. And of course it's like, well, Morgan, you could go to the library, but I just don't go to the library. I don't want to be bothered with due dates. I like having my own books. Like, I've just been very spoiled in that manner, and I have not been able to kick the habit. Like, I don't like sharing my books. I don't like the idea of taking it back to the library because I know it's going to be late, even though I live down the street from the library. But that is something I've realized is affecting me in that challenge. And then the last thing was the What Should I Read? That wasn't necessarily a goal, but that was something I thought would be fun to do on my channel, and to keep up with. And so far so good, but I have gotten behind because, number one, I realized I have not been giving the reviews that you guys have been asking for, because the whole point of that was for you to pick the books that I had, suggested that month. I would give like 3 to 4 books for people to pick. They tell me which one they want me to read, and I was supposed to post a review, and I had not been posting those reviews. And that's where I've fallen short, and my apologies to that. It's just too much. Trying to do all 4 of these things at once was just way too much. And I didn't realize that they all just seemed doable. And not saying that they aren't doable. I just think right now I'm not very interested in keeping them going. So do I feel like a failure? Not necessarily, but I do feel responsible for certain things that I said I would do on this channel that I just have not finished, like the Toni Morrison, because I was supposed to give reviews on that too, and the What Should I Read I was supposed to give reviews on. It's not that I wasn't reading the books. I read them, and now I just feel like there are like 2 books in general I remember that I still need to give reviews on, and I just feel like I read them so long ago I wouldn't even be able to give a good review on them right now. Let me know how you guys feel about that. Do you think I should still give the reviews, or do you think like if it's not a fresh review, it's not worth reviewing? And I'm still working on Dark Money, which was like the last one, and the other Slavery. They were kind of like a tie. So yeah, that is where I am with my reading. I am still reading, at least. I am actually very successful at this book buying ban, which is crazy. So there are some things that I am proud of myself of doing so far this year with my reading. Let me know how your reading goals have gone. Do you think it's a big deal? Some people say it's only books, it's just reading, but I think goals are important, whatever they are, and however they go. If you have your reasons for sticking to them or not sticking to them, like, let's discuss. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.